So what I'll move on is to the intermediary kind of concept that we have here. So the first one I talked about a little bit already, which is the resources. It tends to be fairly straightforward. So the more interesting example concepts are the look back. So now we're kind of entering really the intermediary aspect of things. So these are getting a little bit more advanced. So as part of a rule, when you create a rule, sometimes you want to compare a value. Let's say I want to say, if evil.exe, if the file path of my new process ends with evil.exe, do something. So that's fairly easy. That's fairly straightforward. In a normal rule, right, you would have the path that goes to event file path, and then you'd go to the value, which you would say evil.exe. Sometimes, however, you want to compare two things that are within the same event. So you don't want to say evil.exe. You want to say if the file path, ends with a value that's also found at another spot in the event, or you will say that as part of your response, right? I want to kill the process that I'm looking at here. Well, if I'm giving a response of whatever it is, I think OS process kill, or deny tree, which tends to be a bit better. I can't put a specific value because I don't know this is at runtime, right? What I want to do is I want to tell the DNR rule engine to go and take the value from the event itself and kind of paste it in what I'm doing here. That is called the look back. So the look back is pretty simple. So you will see that wherever we would have a value, let's say it's a process skill, and I'll write up an example. Actually, let's do that now. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to move to a new file. All right. So we have our example here. So I took an example event that we had before, and what I'll do is I'll copy it below. As I was saying, I might have a response that is, action, task, and then, sorry, I actually, sometimes it slips out of my mind. So command, I could say deny tree. And here, well, I want to kill, the process that I have above, but I can't, put anything specific because, again, at runtime, it won't be good. So what I'll do is I'll put the look back, which uses these angle brackets. And what I put in between those is going to be the path in the event of what it is I want to kill. So here I could say, so this is a kind of a subset a little bit, but in event process ID. So if I put this here, what I'm telling the engine is that I want to go and I want to issue the deny tree command. But what I want to put as its argument, right? This is a command line of just like you would go live interacting with a sensor. You would have you would say, okay, go in the event, which, is this / process ID. So take the process ID and I want to use that. So this is a bit of a, fictitious example. There's, the process tree, I think, takes a slightly different argument. I think you would have to go and say something like PID, and then do something. But the idea is that. So it will allow you to refer to things in the process. You can use this in a bunch of different places, whether it's in the response or as part of some detections. So sometimes in the detection itself, you'll want to actually do that, refer to another spot. One gotcha to be careful about is that we will only interpret the lookbacks when it's its own token. So there's a shorter version of this response here that I could have I could have done, which is to just put it as one line, right? So I could do this. But if I do that, I cannot put a look back here. So if you want to use a look back, you'll have to use the tokenized version here of the command. So that is what a look back is. I think we have some good examples in the doc. If we go back briefly, so good examples here, like event, question mark, username. So here I'll go in my event. Question mark will say, okay, look for something. So I will, one level of depth. So I'll go in at parent, and username. So I'll go and I'll find username. So maxim. So you can see a couple of examples here.